Throughout the long history of Vietnam, there are chapters buried beneath the darkness of invasion and war. Yet even in those darkest hours, the fire of patriotism never ceased to burn. This is the story of Ly Nam Dae, the first to proclaim himself emperor and establish a national identity for the Vietnamese people. A dream named Vạn Xuân, a vision of eternal prosperity and freedom. Part 1. A Seed Beneath the Shadows. When the light of the Trung sisters faded, the people of Lac Viet fell once more into the darkness of foreign rule. For nearly 100 years, under Eastern Han, Cao Wei, Jin, and Liang, the land of Jiao Chou had known no peace. But like a seed buried deep in the soil, the spirit of patriotism never died. And in the 6th century, as the southern skies grew dark once again, a man rose up, not only to rebel, but to found the very first national title for the Vietnamese people, Vạn Xuân. That man was Ly Bi, later known as Ly Nam Dae. In the midst of a thunderstorm in the year 503 in the northern plains of Taibing, Ly Bi was born into a noble Lac Viet family. Orphaned at a young age, he grew up in hardship but stood out for his intelligence, discipline, and unyielding will. Ly Bi entered the imperial court under Governor Trieu Quang of the Liang dynasty. But what he saw there was cruelty, corruption, and contempt for the people of Jiao Chou. Unable to endure the injustice, he resigned and returned to Fangzhou, where he gathered loyal allies and began quietly preparing for rebellion. Part 2, A Song Beneath the Shadows. In the spring of 542, Ly Bi launched his rebellion. Within just 1 year, he defeated the Liang forces, seized Long Bien, and forced Governor Trieu Quang to flee back to Guangzhou. In the year 544, he declared himself emperor under the title Ly Nam Dae and named the new nation Vạn Xuân, meaning 10,000 springs, a symbol of everlasting prosperity. Vạn Xuân, the first independent nation of the Vietnamese since the era of the Hung kings, was born. But the joy would not last. In 545, the Liang emperor sent the famous general Chen Baxian to crush the rebellion. Ly Nam Dae suffered defeat and retreated to Quất Lao Cave in Tam Nong, Phu Tha. There, he continued to lead the resistance despite extreme hardship. Knowing he could no longer bear the burden, he passed the mission on to a young, wise, and courageous general, Trieu Quang Phuc. Part 3, The Phantom of the Marshes. Trieu Quang Phuc withdrew his forces into Da Trach, a vast marshland surrounded by thick reeds and swamplands. He waged guerrilla warfare against the Liang army. By day, he and his soldiers hid among the reeds. By night, they struck enemy camps with precision. The Liang forces grew terrified. Chen Baxian suffered a major defeat and was forced to withdraw back to China. The people honored Trieu Quang Phuc as Trieu Viet Vuong. He ruled not with a golden throne or palace, but with simplicity, virtue, and the trust of his people. A king with no crown, but a heart wholly devoted to his homeland. But within Vạn Xuân, new danger stirred once more. Part 4, The Civil War of Xuân. Ly Phut Tu, a cousin of Ly Nam Dae, had established his own power base in Tay Phong Châu. At first, the two sides coexisted peacefully, but tensions rose over legitimacy and authority. Trieu Viet Vuong offered his daughter in marriage to Ly Phut Tu to preserve peace, but he was betrayed. Ly Phut Tu launched a surprise attack, seized territory, and forced Trieu Viet Vuong into defeat. Refusing to be captured, Trieu Viet Vuong drowned himself in a lake, choosing death over dishonor. Ly Phut Tu then took power, unifying Vạn Xuân. But the people's spirit had cooled. Though the nation still existed in name, its light had already faded. Part 5, The Fall of Vạn Xuân. In the year 602, the powerful Sui dynasty of China launched an invasion of Jiao Chou. Ly Phut Tu was tricked into accepting an imperial summons to Trung An. Before he could even leave the border, Sui forces struck Long Bien by surprise. Vạn Xuân had no remaining defenses. No people rose in resistance. The nation collapsed in silence. Ly Phut Tu was captured and spent the rest of his life in imperial captivity. Vạn Xuân, the first Vietnamese national identity, came to an end after just 60 years. But that dream never truly died. It was planted deep in the soul of the Vietnamese people, waiting. And more than 300 years later, when Ngo Quyên stood at the Bac Dang River, history turned its page once more. Vạn Xuân fell, but the dream did not die. It lived on in the veins of the people, in lullabies, in legends whispered by the fire, and when Ngoc rose at the Baikdang River, that flame burned once more, sacred and brighter than ever before. Ly Nam Dae did not merely start a dynasty. He ignited the spirit of independence that would shape 1,000 years to come.